arenas. This for the win.
His job here, ran it down beautifully. What a tough shot over the top of DeAndre.
The Celtics have won the ball game at the buzzer. Tatum joined the play late, spun at the rim and scored.
For nearly 80 years, the NBA playoffs have been built around one simple idea. The league is split into two conferences, the East and the West. And each side sends its best teams to the postseason on separate paths that eventually collide in the NBA Finals. It is familiar, traditional, and it feels untouchable. But what if the NBA has reached a point where the system no longer makes sense? Because as the league becomes more talented, more global, and more competitive than ever, a serious question has started to creep into the conversation. Should the NBA move to a league-wide playoff format where the top 12 teams in the entire league automatically make the playoffs and the 8 additional teams compete in a league-wide play-in tournament? It sounds extreme at first, but once you look at the league as it exists today, the idea stops sounding radical and starts sounding realistic. Right now, the NBA playoff structure is simple. Each conference sends its top 8 teams to the playoffs, while seeds 7 through 10 in each conference compete in the play-in tournament for the final spots. On paper, this sounds fair. In reality, it often isn't. The NBA has not been balanced between the conferences for a long time. There are seasons where the 9th and the 10th seed in the Western Conference will finish comfortably in the top of the Eastern Conference. Yet, they missed the playoffs entirely because of geography. Meanwhile, teams with losing or barely winning records are rewarded with playoff spots simply because their conference is weaker. The NBA markets itself as a league where the best teams earn their way in, but the current system does not always reflect that idea. Under the new format, the playoffs will be based on a league-wide standing rather than conferences. The top 12 teams in the NBA, regardless of location, will automatically qualify for the playoffs. Teams ranked 13 through 20 will enter a league-wide play-in tournament competing for the Final Four's playoff spots. This means the postseason will feature the 16 best teams in basketball, not the 16 teams that happen to be in the right place. A strong team will never miss the playoffs because of conference imbalance. Every win will matter more, and the regular season will carry real weight from the top to the bottom. From a competitive standpoint, it is hard to argue against that. The biggest argument against a league-wide play-in format has always been travel. In the current system, early round series usually stay in a similar time zone that limits fatigue, reduces injuries, and keeps the quality of play high. In a league-wide format, the first round matchups could involve coast-to-coast travel, such as Boston playing Phoenix or Miami facing Sacramento. This is a legitimate concern. However, there is a solution the NBA has the flexibility to use. For playoff series that require cross-country travel, the league could space games up to 4 days apart to allow for proper rest, recovery, and preparation, instead of forcing players into exhausting turnaround schedules. The NBA could prioritize health without extending the overall length of the postseason dramatically. Playoff basketball is already an appointment viewing. Giving teams extra rest between major travel games will protect players and preserve the quality of the product. Even though this format sounds new, the NBA has already shown it is willing to break tradition. The playoff tournament did not exist a few years ago. The in-season tournament completely ignores conferences. Even regular season scheduling is becoming more balanced across the league. Conferences still exist, but their importance is shrinking. The NBA's priorities are clear. The league wants better matchups, more star-driven games, and fewer situations where elite players miss the postseason entirely. A top 12 playoff format combined with a league-wide play-in tournament directly supports those goals. This system will benefit the deeper conference, especially in the years where one side is stronger than the other. It will also benefit fans who will see fewer uncompetitive playoff series and more matchups between legitimate contenders. The teams that will struggle the most under this format are the ones that rely on weaker conferences to sneak into the playoffs. Traditionalists who value the East versus the West identity might also push back against the change. This is where the real tension lies. Is the NBA trying to preserve tradition, or is it trying to put the best basketball on the floor? The NBA has never been afraid of change, it just rarely changes all at once. As the league continues to evolve, the idea that conference placement should decide playoff eligibility may start to feel outdated. A top 12 playoff system with 8 additional play-in teams will reward excellence, increase competition, and make every regular season game matter more than it ever has. The real question is not whether the NBA can make this work. The real question is how long will it take the league to decide that the current system no longer does.